Hello. One of the questions I've been asked recently is clean language nonsense? Well, actually, it's being asked in rather stronger language than that, because the people asking it aren't coming from a place of curiosity. They don't want a real answer. They're just trolling. But I actually think it is a worthwhile question, a question that deserves an answer. Is clean language bollocks? Now, in order to answer that question, I'm going to say more about myself than I usually do on these videos. My name is Judy Rees, FRSA MA. That means I'm a Fellow of the Royal Society for the Arts, Manufactures and Commerce, created in London in 1754. And I have a master's degree from London College of Printing, as it used to be, in Media Technology Administration. I'm actually on the Fellowship Council of the RSA as well, which is worth mentioning. I officially start in a couple of weeks' time when their AGM happens. And work-wise, in a previous life, it feels a very long time ago, I was executive editor of one of the UK's best-known media organisations, having been a news reporter and news editor for some years. Nowadays, I'm a freelance consultant helping organisations to shrink communication gaps, get people who are spread all over the place to engage more directly, more authentically with each other and to work more effectively together. Worked with all sorts of big organisations and small organisations. And I'm best known for my work with Clean Language as co-author of the book Clean Language, and I'm also the author of a newer e-book which I'm in the process of fleshing out into print, Your Clean Language Questions Answered. I've been teaching this subject for more than 10 years. Funnily enough, until recently, nobody ever actually asked me, is clean language bollocks? Maybe it's because I put out that questions answered thing, who knows? Anyway, on the basis of that information, you can decide whether it's worth listening to the rest of this video. On the one hand, I have conventional qualifications. On the other hand, I've spent a long time working with this strange stuff about metaphors created by David Grove, who was a slightly dotty bloke who's no longer with us. So should I be wearing a turquoise jumpsuit? Do I deserve to be trolled? It's your choice. So Exhibit A. Here's a list of all the academic research that makes use of David Grove's ideas. It's growing every year. Sometimes it seems it's growing every month. Some studies show how clean language can be applied, for example, to help students work better together and increase the rate of getting good degrees from about 49% to about 73%. Some of the studies use clean language as a research or an interviewing tool. Lots there to explore. Exhibit B. Here are some of the books about clean language that have been published over the last few years. Again, about applications. My favourite is Clean Language in the Classroom by Julie McCracken. Practical, pragmatic guide for classroom teachers, but it actually will be really helpful to anyone who works with groups. There's also lots of books which use clean language in a coaching context. Exhibit C. Here are some of the books which contain ideas which support the truth at the heart of how clean language works. That metaphor exists at a profound level in people's thinking, such that metaphor could be described as the native language of the unconscious mind. The metaphors in our language, they come out at about six per minute, come out because they're a side effect of the metaphors in thought. Exhibit D, the background. Here's where it gets foggy, where clean language comes from. I think David deliberately obscured the history, but the evidence I've been able to access suggests that David Grove's big breakthrough came from combining three sets of ideas of different levels of respectability. There was the work of Carl Rogers and Milton Erickson. Both of them were revolutionary at the time, but eventually became fairly mainstream. And then there was the outsider work of Richard Bandler and John Grinder, which was called NLP. Now, a lot of the ideas which originated in NLP are now very mainstream, but NLP itself is not mainstream. It's almost determinedly non-mainstream. And you probably don't want to talk about NLP as an academic social function if you want to have a pleasant rest of the evening. It's not invented here to academics. And then we run out of exhibits. Where are David Grove's own publications? Well, he co-authored one book, which is not very good and was now out of print. And academic papers, he didn't write any. So if that means that clean language doesn't meet your criteria for investigation, that's fine by me. Because there's something that David used to say that rings true for me. He was talking about where he aimed to take a person's attention when he asked a question. If it landed well inside what they already knew, that was just boring. If it landed way beyond the known universe, that would be baffling and even scary. But if a question took their attention just to the edge of what they currently knew, maybe just a little further, that's where the insight, the learning, the excitement and the connections would emerge. And if the idea of clean language, the idea of a precision toolkit for directing attention, for investigating the hidden metaphors that drive people's behaviour, if that's at your learning edge, hopefully I've convinced you to dig deeper. If it's not, then leave it. Come back to it later. If you need clean language to be fully accepted, fully respectable, fully academically referenced and tied up with a bow, you may be waiting a long time. Is it bollocks? No, there's certainly something in it. It's worth investigating if it has resonance for you.